It's about time. My thoughts on Fortnite's Chapter 4 Season 4. And did Fortnite redeem themselves after a lackluster Season 3? How good is the weapon loot pool? There are crazy new POIs on the map, and the overall feel of the season, how does it feel? Is it good? Let's get into it. First, I'll go over the new POIs, and so far I'm really liking them. Now, they did get rid of Lonely Labs, which was one of my favorite landing spots for Sanguine Suites. I hope I said that right. The Citadel was removed for Eclipse Estate. I was like lukewarm on the Citadel. It was okay. And they added Relentless Retreat, which is southwest of Frenzy Fields. I really like that they kind of splashed all three new POIs around the map instead of taking over one whole area like they did with the Japanese theme in Season 2. All three estates feel really big and refreshing for the new season, and I love that all three estates have their own vaults with loot. And I like that they have their own mythic loot, and I think the mythic loot kind of circulates. I'm not sure on that one. I haven't been able to get in the vaults as much as I wanted to, but I think it does rotate. Now, there are a lot of NPCs that will shoot you on site, and it can get very chaotic because they will just start shooting at you for no reason. It's not like the other bots that we've seen in the game, like the heist men and the henchmen. And they also have footprints, so if you use visual audio like I do, and probably most of you should, actually everybody should, it's so good. But if you're using visual audio, it's chaos because every bot is going to be making footprints, and then players that land there are going to make footprints, so it get very chaotic. You know, you have to use other cues to figure out if a player is real or if it's bot, like you hear him healing or, you know, taking shields or something like that, or reloading. That's kind of the only ways you're gonna really notice and kind of connect the footsteps to bots and players. Now, I like the heist theme of these vaults because you can only pick one signature item from each vault, and then the entire estate goes on lockdown and sends more security bots. Now, I am glad that the security bots are very easy to take out. We don't want a Warzone 2 situation when you're getting lasered by bots, and like no one likes that. And I think honestly, these bots are worse than the henchmen for the heist. I mean, I've been next to some of these bots and they don't even hit anything. At least the henchmen, they'll laser you if you're really close to them. So I like that they are easy because they are shooting on site and they do respawn when you take an item from the vault. And then we want to just show off the overall map here. So I wanted to go and show Season 1 for Chapter 4. You know, it's a smaller map, right? And there's less POIs. Once we got to Season 2, they added the entire bottom right Japanese area, and they actually added on to the island, so it's a lot bigger. By the time we're here at Season 4, it's a completely different map, and that's what we want. We want, you know, a progression with the maps and just having new areas to explore. And so that was really a good sign of like what we've seen the beginning of Chapter 4 Season 1 and now to the end of Chapter 4, or not the end, but just to the last season, Chapter 4 Season 4. Lots changed. That's really good. We want to see that progressing well over the whole year, and I'm really glad that they nailed that part of the game. Now let's get into the loot pool changes. Fortnite added a few new guns and they feel really good. They added new movement and utility items, which are great too. They keep it fresh and it just makes the new season, you know, feel new. I want to go over some of my favorite items, and the first one that comes to mind is the rocket ram. This new item is so much fun. It made me instantly love this season day one. You know how we talked about Season 3 day one, it just didn't feel good. You felt like you were stuck in mud and like there was no movement. Positioning was really important and it just didn't feel great. Now we got the rocket ram. Man, this thing's awesome. First, there's kind of two ways to use it, and the first one is that if you're aiming at like a 60 to 90 degree angle, it allows you to cover a much farther distance, but it kind of puts you in this weird animation. It's not really weird, but it's just like a fun animation where you hug the rocket, and it's almost like in Pokemon where like it's called seismic toss. That was a move in Pokemon where like Charizard would grab a Pokemon, go up in the sky, go around and move, and just like crash down and slam the Pokemon. Kind of similar to what you're doing with the rocket. You hug the rocket and you slam it on the ground, which is really cool. And on the way down, you can break usually just one structure. So if you're in a 1-floor house, you'll break through the roof if there's no like top floor there, and you'll just land on the first floor. And also you'll do 50 damage to any players within that splash radius. And you'll push them back like a shockwave. Now, here's a little trick, and it's happened to me a few times. I didn't want to admit it. That if you get pushed off a high point, like a hill, a cliff, or anything, you will take fall damage, which is very different from the hammers, because the hammers did similar. The hammers were very similar. They would smash the ground, you get shocked way back, but you wouldn't take any damage. You take damage from the rocket. If they hit you, you'll take fall damage. So that's kind of big. So you can knock someone off, or a whole group off a cliff. If they're, you know, shooting down on you, you got the rocket and you have enough time to get up there and splash back down. If you position it right, you can knock the whole entire team off the cliff and they'll die to fall damage. So that's really cool. The second way you can really use this is a much lower trajectory. So we're kind of thinking like, this is the first one. It kind of goes up, kind of goes down, and on the way down, you slam down. The second one's more of a like horizontal kind of look. You're not going to go as far, but you're going to be going fast because you have the thruster. And what I've noticed is as the rocket is thrusting, you'll break pretty much anything in your path. So you can just rip through a house. If you think like, hey man, someone's ratting in this house, you can just go right through the house, which is kind of cool. I guess you do this right through the house, which is really cool. And what I've noticed is that you have less lag time. So you kind of just jump off the rocket. You can bring your shotgun out or whatever gun you want if you're really close. There's no time penalty for getting off the rocket. You're pretty much off the rocket and you're ready to go, which is something I want to utilize a little more because I think that could be really useful, even though if it's a shorter distance. Maybe you crack someone a little bit and they're a shorter distance, you hit the rocket and you'll be able to get right next to them. So I think that could be really cool, really fun, and create some really cool highlights for you guys. Now, the new weapons they have added have been great too. They added the twin mag assault rifle, which I love. It feels very similar to the Red Eye, but it does have damage reduction over range when the Red Eye didn't have any. It does shoot faster than the Red Eye, but since it does have the twin mags, your first reload is incredibly fast, and each mag is 20 rounds versus the 25 rounds for the Red Eye. You can add an augment called Scope Salvo, which increases your damage and slows down your fire rate, making this gun even deadlier. And I haven't really been holding the fire button down for this weapon unless I feel like there's not much time or the window is very short and I need to try to do as much damage as possible. Or if I'm hip firing with the gun, sometimes I'll use the hip fire and just hold it down as like a spray weapon because I like to use a 2-weapon setup. But for the most part, the slowdown in rate of fire really isn't that big of a deal because you should be mostly tap shooting with this gun because the range is really good. Even though it does drop off a little bit, you're still going to be very accurate, and that's kind of the most important part of this gun, is just to be accurate. So the Scope Salvo, I really believe, is a very good augment to use. And then the first assault augment is also good. Your first shot of every mag is going to do extra damage. So, you know, kind of like the Red Eye, you want to be accurate, and that first shot's going to do a lot of damage. So if you got someone that's, you know, standing still and you can get a headshot really easily, you're going to do a lot of damage off that first shot. Now, moving to the Infiltrator pump shotgun. I really love this shotgun, right? I actually like all the shotguns this season. I'll pick it up over the Sawtooth shotgun because, you know, you get 6 rounds instead of 4, and it shoots almost twice as fast, actually, which is weird because it's called a pump shotgun. So the fire rate for the Infiltrator shotgun is 1.2 versus the Sawtooth, which is 0.68. Now, the Sawtooth does hit a little harder and is more of a traditional pump shotgun, but it just doesn't hit as hard as like the Havoc did or the original pump shotguns. So I don't know if the trade-off is really worth it because max headshot for a legendary for the Infiltrator is 135. Max headshot for the Sawtooth is 160. So is that 25? Yeah, is that 25 damage really worth, you know, almost being twice as slow? So you gotta think about, right? I do believe the Infiltrator pump shotgun is better than the Sawtooth, and you can also run a 2-weapon loadout with the Infiltrator just because, you know, you get a faster fire rate, still hits hard, the reticle is really good, and the range is really good. And what I've kind of noticed is you're just not going to hit super hard at really farther ranges, but you're going to hit very consistently. I was consistently hitting 89 to 100 on a farther away shotgun shot, maybe like 10 meters out. I really like the new shotgun. It's a lot of fun. I use it in a 2-weapon loadout. You know, for me, that's a lot of fun because I can use an extra movement item like shockwaves and the ram. I like that. I like the versatility I get from just a 2-weapon loadout. Now, the third weapon they added was the Scoped Burst SMG. And I was a little conflicted when I first got the gun. It's a SMG, but it's a red dot. But the range of damage isn't as good as, obviously, the twin mag assault rifle. and the DPS and hipfire isn't as good as the combat SMG. So it's kind of in this in between where I just don't know what exactly it's used for, but I think for close range it's fine. It's still a good weapon. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just good in both categories. It's just not great in both categories. So I think it's a good gun to pick off the rip, like right when you drop down and there's a lot of people fighting and you need to pick up a gun. I think it's fine. I think it will get the job done, but I don't think I would want to pick it over a combat SMG if you want a 3-weapon setup and you want something that's a spray weapon after a pump. Or if you want to do a 2-weapon setup, I don't think you would pick it over the twin AR. But that gun just seems like it's in the middle, and I still use it, but it's not something that I want to main in every loadout or every game. Scope salvo does help it a little bit, but then you're sacrificing DPS for just overall damage, and it's just kind of like, I think it makes it a little bit better, but I don't think it makes it better to replace the combat SMG and the twin assault rifle. There you go. They vaulted 2 more weapons. The suppressed sniper rifle, which is nice to have a sniper rifle back in the game where we didn't really have one for most of season 3 until they brought the fire breath sniper. And you're gonna get a bonus towards the visual audio range, which is gonna be a less range for when you shoot it, instead of it being like, you know, 200 meters, maybe it's 100 meters, people will hear it or see the visual audio. So it does give you a little more of a stealth factor. And they brought back the suppressed pistol, which I think the tactical pistol, which we had for like 3 straight seasons, I think it was in the last season. You know, it was good, especially in season 1. A lot of people used that as a spray weapon. I think when we got the combat SMG, people like kind of picked that over the tactical pistol. But I think the tactical pistol was a little bit better. I don't think this pistol will be really used that much. They do have pistol salvo, which increases your damage but lowers rate of fire, which I really think that augment is really only good for the shadow tracker pistol, which you can only get in the hollow chest, because the fire rate doesn't matter for that gun. You're really just using that gun for its ability to mark players and be able to see them through walls and stuff. So really, pistol salvo is a new augment, but it's really, I think, really good for the shadow tracker pistol, just because you get that extra bonus damage, but you know, you're not really using the pistol to take players out. Now, some of the heisted weapons are pretty sweet, and I believe they move around in the game. So the guns are always in the estate in the vault, but I think they move around a little bit, and you can only pick 1 per estate. So sometimes you get a choice of 2, or you get a choice of 3, you know, mythic items, because they have like a support ones or they have guns. But so far, my favorite mythic item in a vault is the shockwave launcher. I thought that was fun. I only got to use it once, but I thought it was like great. Kind of like the bow, similar to the shockwave bow, but you get like 6 rounds at a time, so that could be cool. And he uses explosive ammo. And then Midas drum gun, which I think is very good too. I think Midas' drum gun is a great spray weapon. Doesn't get the 0-shot accuracy, but it'll be good in close range, and you get 40 rounds to a mag. And let me know down in the comments below, what are your favorite new weapons or new utilities that they brought this season? One new item that they introduced was the business turret. Now, these turrets are pretty decent. Their range is short, and each bullet shoots for 7 damage, but I think they're more effective than the hireable NPCs. And I was kind of surprised how much health the turrets actually have. It's over 200 health, so you do have to shoot them quite a bit. And you're able to carry 2, and they're just a lot of fun. Right, and when the whole squad deploys a bunch of turrets everywhere, it can be kind of chaotic, but like really fun too. We have a new searchable object, which is the heist bags. Now they are found in the new estate POIs, and they can have crash pad juniors, remote explosive, rocket rams, ammo, and health and shields. So they're really nice to have, and they'll be fun to pick up as you play through the season. We also got a few new augments. We kind of touched on them earlier, but I just kind of want to go over the new ones that they kind of came out with. First is the first shotgun, similar to, I think it's called First Assault. The first shot of the gun will do extra damage. Unfortunately, with this one, the headshot modifier or headshot total damage will not change for the shotgun with this augment. So that kind of is like a bummer, because the shotguns are a little weaker than they have been in the previous seasons. And so, you know, I would have liked to see that max headshot go up a little bit, because then players kind of get a little extra damage from the shotgun shots. And it's not like it's going to be every single time, right? It's going to just be the first shot of a magazine. I still like it, because if you hit a body shot with a shotgun, you're going to do more damage to someone. The sniper striker augment is definitely worse than the shotgun striker, because you're not gonna take too much damage when you're sniping somebody, unless you're in a snipe off thing and they hit you and you hit them and you're gonna heal back up. But for the most part, you're not really taking a lot of damage when you're sniping someone that's like 100 or 200 meters away, right? So kind of not the best augment that they added, but it could be good if you like wanted to sit in a bush and you're weak toward end game and you get a sniper shot off and then you get instantly healed. That could actually be really good. It could be like a game changer for end game. So it's not one that I would really pick, but if you like it or it could have some effective uses in game, let me know down in the comments below. The next new perk we're talking about is the On The Go bag, which any container you open will have an item that would be in the heist bag, which is a great perk because you can get extra movement with a ram just by opening ammo crates or a food crate. Ammo drop seems to be a bit useless because by the time you're at end game, most of the time I have plenty of ammo. I'm not really worried about ammo unless I got revived by my teammates and they just don't have ammo to start off with. Now we got Fast Fish, which makes you swim faster and instantly loots a fishing spot if you go through it, which could be really good, especially again end game. Sometimes you just get like an all water end game where there's a lot of water or you're in a lake or something like that. That could be actually pretty useful, just get some extra heals in case you have to take storm damage or something like that. Finally, we get Pistol Salvo, which I don't think is as good because we don't have the tactical pistol, and like I said earlier, I don't think the suppressed pistols are that great. I think there's better options for you, but I do think if you do like to run the Shadow Tracker pistol, I think it'd be a good augment to pick up. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the Battle Pass. This Battle Pass is just way better than last Battle Pass. Last season I got the level 200 and that's when I unlocked everything, because I was like, I don't like anything here, it's kind of boring, I don't like this Battle Pass. The only skin I liked was the Meowscles one, and that was not even the Battle Pass, that was like the summer event. I think that was open for everybody. So this Battle Pass though, already have some favorite skins that I look forward to unlocking. Number one is Fish Stick. I think he's funny. I think he's just a giant fish with muscles. I think that's funny. I think that's great. And then they have a bunch of variants of his skin throughout the Battle Pass. That's awesome. We got the Ahsoka Tano skin, which is going to be a event skin. I don't know when it's going to drop. I don't know if anyone knows when it's going to drop. They might have leaked it or something, but that's going to be fun. It's kind of like the Witcher skin that they did, where you're just going to do a bunch of quests and then eventually you're going to get it. And I like the May skin a lot. I kind of like that hacker vibe. My favorite color scheme is the like Miami Vice color scheme, where it's like pink, blue, and black. So that looked really good on her. So those are my three favorite skins that I look forward to. I don't know what we're going to get for the bonus skins. I don't think it shows up on the Battle Pass. When you look at it, it's all question marks. And I just want to say, so far, this season's awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's fast. The new weapons are cool. The POIs are really cool. The way you interact with the vaults and get mythics is really awesome. They nailed it, and I love it. And I can't wait to play more. If you like this video and you want to support the channel, just subscribe to the channel. It's free and it's easy to do. And like the video if you liked it too. That always helps my channel too. And then also, if you want to check me out live, come to my Twitch at twitch.tv/jbob. I'll see you guys in the next video.